Okay, good evening. Welcome to this regular scheduled business meeting of the Summersville City Council on this 11th day of August, 2025. I'd like to welcome our guests this evening and move right into tonight's agenda. The first item on the agenda is consideration of the council minutes of the meeting we held July 28th of 2025.
Move to approve and waive the reading.
Second. Council, we have a first. The motion was to waive the reading. Are there any changes or amendments to the minutes as the way they were presented in your packet? Down the left, down the right, we're good to go. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. Public comment. Nobody signed up for public comment. We'll move right along. The next item on the agenda is USDA Geese Mitigation Program. We're glad to have with us tonight from the USDA, Mr. Tom Elliott. And Tom, if you don't care, we welcome you to the podium and tell us about your program.
Well, first of all, I'm with USDA APHIS Wildlife Services. It's the federal agency that addresses wildlife damage. We're kind of unique in the fact that we're the only federal agency that can be privately hired by an individual, company, corporation, city, state, or other federal agencies. Our purpose is to mitigate or minimize wildlife damage, whether it's through personal property, human health and safety, disease, a lot of different scenarios where wildlife conflicts with human activity. With Canada geese, we are tasked with addressing Canada goose problems in the state because they're a federally protected bird. It creates a problem, and so therefore our agency under Congress is tasked to do that. The only problem is most people, when they want our assistance, need to come and work through us individually because it's not something that's funded through Congress to say. The agency's in existence, but the work we do is case by case, or what we call cooperator funded projects. So in the case of somebody with a wildlife issue and say Canada geese, such as is with Summersville, we're not a regulatory agency, so we have to work through the governing agency or the government, which would be the city level. And so that's why when we got calls, I asked for the individuals to at least reach out to their city council members or the meeting here and talk. If asked to come, then we come and present some information on what can be done. The Canada geese, though, are a species that are attracted to a lot of things: short grass, water, and that pretty much makes them happy for everything. So as long as you have some short grass and a little bit of water in the area, you're always going to have Canada geese. We do provide assistance with that, and we try to do it in different ways. But the most important thing is we try to use an integrated approach. The integrated approach is where you're going to use non-lethal as well as lethal means to make the geese feel less attractive or welcome to that location. So the idea is to make them, in more or less terms, start respecting human activity instead of the humans having to respect the goose. So our program, we look at it as a calendar year, but it doesn't matter what time we start. Everything is based off of a 12-month cycle. But our calendar year starts out with egg and nest treatment, and that's where when we are asked to come into a facility, we're going to look for Canada goose nests on the properties that we have permission to work at, and we're going to address those nests and addle the eggs or oil the eggs to render the nest sterile. That is in itself a harassment to the geese, and it makes them have an unsuccessful nesting season. They're more apt to want to try to find somewhere else to nest next year. Then after that, you have the springtime harassment, which is between the time nesting season ends and the summer molt. And so at that time, we start doing our spring harassments, which consist of different methods, but again, it's all things that we try to do to make the goose feel unsure, unsecure there, so they're going to want to leave and move out. Again, it's still another non-lethal harassment. The summer molt, I'll come back to it here in a minute, but then after the molt's over with, we also start into what we call summer-fall harassment. but it actually goes clear up into winter, depending on the goose activity. We're trying to, again, make them not feel welcome, also make the geese not be an attractant there for migratory flocks that are gonna fly through, going south or north when it comes migration time. Now, the molt itself, that is when most people call us. They call us after the molt, because during the molt, Canada geese lose their flight feathers, and so all they can do is walk and swim. That usually occurs from about the second week of June to about the first week of July. And so somewhere about the middle of July, we start getting phone calls, because everybody's been living for a month with goose feathers everywhere and fecal matter where they've dropped and left on the sidewalks, walkways, yards, swimming areas, beaches, stuff like that, playgrounds. And they're fed up with it, because for the last month, they just never wanted to leave. And so during the molt, our agreement with the regulatory authorities that do manage Canada goose numbers in the state, which would be through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, we will conduct a roundup for a cooperator who is asked for services and have done a year's worth of the integrated approach. So otherwise, it's not to try to encourage a silver bullet, it's actually to encourage management of the Canada goose. Make them manage the problem instead of trying to eradicate them. Because a good example of that is you take a kitchen table and mom tells you clear it off, and you clear off the table and everything gets thrown right back on it. But if you keep on track of it, you keep the table clean, it's always there. So the idea is you manage the goose numbers. Don't try to just eradicate them overnight, because they're going to come right back in. But when you make the area an unmanageable or unwelcoming to the goose, then they're going to want to not be as attracted there. They go somewhere else to stay, another habitat somewhere else. So during the molt, though, if you cooperate or we've been working for you and doing everything for the past year or in that 12-month cycle, then you qualify for a roundup. And the roundup is when we would come in and we can capture geese that are during that molt on those set properties and remove them that way through the rounding them up because of that. But the thing is, it's a percentage that we try to target. And if you're doing all that, then you're usually always way under that percentage of allowed number that can be removed at that time. So when we have a cooperator, as this case being the city of Summersville, you would say, if you want our services, we would write up an agreement, provide it to you. And in that agreement, there's a work plan, and the financial plan explains all that we're going to do. But we would then work with a point of contact from the city that says, okay, this area we want you to work at, or this area we want you not to bother, or if we have a park, or we have a playground, or we have something where we want you to make sure you keep those numbers at a minimum or gone. And so that's where we start doing that type of stuff. And then the harassment that we will be conducting, we're going to try to do it in ways to maximize the harassment. So for example, I use this as an example. We had a location where we did work for a cooperator, and they use golf carts for everything. So when we went to harass geese, we always did it with a golf cart, so that the geese never know whether the next person getting off the golf cart is there to play golf or recreate or be after them. And so the idea is we try to work with the cooperator in a way to maximize that harassment, so it's always going on. But our harassment program, we're going to come in, we do it day and night, and we use different methods depending on the time and day of night that it is, and to harass those geese and to keep pushing them out, making them feel unwelcome. And again, it's that integrated approach. It's not come in and try to use a one fixed solution. We want to do stuff to make them feel not welcome. And so all of our goose work that we do everywhere consists of that throughout the course of the year. And sometimes when we do it, there's no geese to round up during the molt, because they'll literally be feeling the fear of the activity and want to move out. But in most cases, we still have to round up some geese. And usually we're averaging about 9 to 10% of the geese that we're dealing with is all that's left to round up. But again, as I said before, as long as you got grass under 3 inches and some water, that's the ideal attractant to a goose. So unfortunately, when you have places you're trying to take care of with that short grass, you're always gonna have geese out there wanting to come to it.
Yeah. So you stated that, so I guess what I'm curious about is, you stated that you don't qualify for the roundup until you've been in the program a year, is that correct?
Or in an agreement for that 12 months.
For the 12 months.
Because with
So
us, we have to
what's the
conduct it all.
success rate of this program that you get them out of here, and then of course the geese migrate back and forth, and you still have those areas that you end up right back in the situation? I mean, is there anything that you do through the mitigation that discourages future geese flocks?
There are some things that we can do if there's areas that allow it, like grid wires on water systems. That is a little more longevity, but some people don't like grid wires. The other thing is just trying to hopefully educate people, stop feeding them, stop doing things to attract them. Everybody gets the idea that make them feel unwelcome, so they stay out. But as long as you have short grass and water, there's probably always going to be a chance you're going to have geese come back. Now, I'm not saying they'll always come back in the numbers that they were, and they may not, or they may come back. But in most cases, you're trying to make them feel unwelcome. Geese aren't they're not a true native here. I mean, they've been around for a long time and people find them, but a true native Canada goose only lays eggs in Canada. So if they lay eggs in the lower 48, it's a residential Canada goose. And residential Canada geese are just, they're perfect at habituating to new habitats where they're at.
So in other words, the geese, I mean, a lot of the geese that we probably have in this city were born in this city. So you're saying they're resident geese.
Right.
And so the migrating geese then don't have the tendency to stop here to lay eggs.
They're not going to stop to lay eggs, but when they're migrating north and south, any geese you have here might be in a live attractants for them to pitch in and stay. In most cases, they're the ones that as soon as you harass them, they want to leave because they're like, this isn't right and we got to get out of here. But they still can be an attractant to those that are attracted to those that are residential there.
Okay, so what are the birds that we have at the park? The birds that come back every year to lay their eggs? They're
Osprey.
The osprey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are geese like that? Because the osprey, we've got a set of osprey that come back every year, a male and female, and have their babies here, and then of course they go. But because they're native, like you call neighborhood geese, when you remove them, is their tendency going to come back to the same? Will they migrate back to where they're from? I mean, do they know that?
They may try to come back if their harassment is to make them feel unwelcome. There's more tendency to hopefully start going to places they're not getting harassed. I mean, there's plenty of places around here that you could think of that would be ideal habitat for a goose to go hang out. And when he goes there and he's not getting harassed and bothered and chased all the time, then they're going to be more apt to stay there. But I will not be able to tell you there's a guarantee that they'll never come back. I won't. I mean, they were attracted here once. There's a chance they may be attracted back here again.
Mayor, that was gonna be one of my questions. If you go to one area, we have a problem up in our neighborhood where, they've already been harassed pretty good. And they go from that pond right over the hill to the next pond. And then if they get ran off of that pond, they come straight back to this one. Well, now they've been run off of both those and they went across Webster Road to that one. And you just go to each individual pond and harass them away and then they just keep moving to different waterways around the city.
They may, again, that is whereas if you tell me, hey, these are the locations you can harass, because ultimately, if you're hiring us to do the service, you're the one we're working for. But you may say, these are the parks, this is the waterways, whatever it may be called, the neighborhood that we want you to work in. My staff that will be doing that, their job is going to be randomly just coming through and finding them geese and going after them. So they're always getting chased. They're always, it's kind of like the dog never wants to quit chasing the cat. It just keeps chasing it and chasing it, so they start getting to feeling bad. And yes, so the idea is each one of those ponds, we're going to want to go there and harass them. My staff, when they the sites that we work at, whether it's other towns, industrial sites, schools, stuff like that, we go back to those same places and keep going, looking for them, finding them each time, so that they get the idea, well, hey, we go over here, we're okay, no, we're gonna come there for you too. And we keep going after them until they leave the idea, or they don't find that they're getting harassed at every spot.
Do you shoot at them?
We do a lot of different, we do a lot of different things, sir.
I mean, you know,
Yes,
something to scare them.
well, when we use harassment techniques, a lot of our main harassment techniques are gonna be pyrotechnics, lasers, remote control cars and boats, Mylar, you know, different types of physical harassment, and yes, in some cases, we use shooting to enhance harassment. And in those cases, that's where you're shooting some to take out some with the idea the rest are getting harassed from the shooting. You know, I kind of use it as a good example, and I'm kind of relating to where I grew up, but I grew up on my grandfather's farm, and his neighbor had a vineyard, and Mr. Vendetta was a heck of a nice gentleman. He's passed away now, but his kitchen window looked up at that vineyard across the road. And us neighborhood boys went over there and we ate grapes all the time. And Mr. Vendetta, worst thing he ever did was he opened the door and yelled, "I'm gonna shoot you boys if you don't get out of there." And we'd run and hide behind the barn, and the worst we ever got was an upset stomach. And, you know, and we now say, you know, boy, if he'd ever opened the door one time and just shot in the air, we'd have thought we were dead. And the idea is you gotta use multiple methods for that harassment. So you don't just use one-time pyrotechnics or one-time the remote control, or even that one-time shooting. You want to incorporate all the different methods so that they're getting that constant harassment and that constant idea of what's bad. And, you know, the example with the golf cart was, yes, many people in that community was using golf carts to play golf and go to the recreational center they had there, and it was just another way of getting around. But when we started harassing them, we were harassing them with remote control cars, lasers, sometimes even dogs, pyrotechnics, physically chase them, doing different things to haze them, harass them in a way that they got the idea. They thought the golf cart brought all the bad things to them, not just somebody playing golf or going to the senior center. And so the idea is you want to incorporate those methods so they're not sure what's going to happen next each time they get after them. Another location, facilities, it was a school we worked for. When they first started, they were trying to do everything themselves. And their janitor was the one that had to do most of this. And when I met with him, he said that, you know, every morning I went out there, my 9 o'clock lunch, or coffee break, and he said, and I harassed them. He said, you know, and after about a week, he said 2 weeks, he said, they were never there. But the principal called me later and said, well, they're back out on the playground. And he said, but I was busy. And I said, yeah, because they got used to whatever was going to happen, always happened at 9 o'clock. And I said, so in his case, he was trying to do anything and everything at 9 o'clock, but it was always at 9 o'clock. So, you know, when we started that location, we were coming in there during the school hours. We were coming in there of a night. We come in there during practices. We did stuff like that so that they were starting to get the idea it was a bad time no matter when they were there. And so when you start doing that, then they start getting out of there. So it's not just the one method of shooting that is the scariest thing. It's going to be every method is going to be the scariest.
Okay, so let's elaborate on that a little bit, because I know I'm going to get some phone calls from this. They're a federally protected species, right?
Yes, sir.
So are you shooting to kill them?
If I have to use shooting to enhance harassment, yes. And when the roundup's conducted, those geese will be euthanized during the roundup, which is during the summer molt.
Okay.
That's why I say the integrated approach is going to use lethal as well as non-lethal methods combined to get the more longer-term effect. Because again, if you went out there and said, well, I'll just go out there and shoot them all today, you might kill some, but you're not going to get them all, and they're coming back. And so the idea is you want to do all the other things that go along with it, the egg and nest, the different types of harassment, the different times of day and night harassment.
But what makes that legal is your program. I mean, a citizen
Yes, we
can
actually
go out
have
and
to,
start shooting
we
geese.
have to have we obtain and have to have those proper permits to be able to do that.
Okay, so let's say that again. To legally shoot them, you have to be permitted to do so, and that's what your program brings to the table.
That's one of the things I'll be able to.
One of the options you have
Right.
to the end result, end game, to try to get rid of the geese. Okay. Council, any other questions?
What's your cost based on?
The way we figure up our cost is primarily just our time, mileage, and supplies. Supplies being very minimal because that's what we're already stocked up on. Our time is based off of the employee working at the site. Again, I figure it up. I have field staff that are assigned different parts of the state. And so when I figure up a cost, it's based off the person that would be here. I don't figure it up based off of me being in Elkins, West Virginia. So I would figure out that cost. Our average cost on a goose agreement statewide averages somewhere between normally about $6,800 and around $8,500 for the whole year. And, on average, it's about $7,500 to $7,700, I'd say, give or take a little bit there, is the mid-range of it.
The other question I have is obviously the issue we have in the city is all on private property. So are those agreements with you and your program, or do we get in the program and those agreements are with the city?
So again, anytime we work somewhere, we have to also have for lack of a better way of calling it, a permission form to be there. So when we work, even though the city, and this is again, one of those things where if the city's requesting this, and the ultimate, you're gonna get credit for what we're doing. But, so somebody comes up and you say, hey, over at this park area, and landowner A and B says, hey, they're in my yard too, I'd like for you to do something. And with your all's permission, then I can still do the work, but they have to have that permission form signed for us to be on their property also.
Okay.
And if we come through there and these properties ain't signed up, they can stay there all day long. I can't do a thing about it. We don't have the authority to go over on somebody's land and go after something. So even with your property as the city, we would have that permission form. And then if you said, yes, we'd like for you to work these communities, then the only way we would be allowed to do anything for anybody is if they signed up at that
Yeah,
point.
and
normally,
that's what this program would be, it's all private property.
right. And
It's all
in a
private.
case like that, usually our point of contact with the city would be the person I'd say, hey, landowner A, B, and C has now asked for us to participate on their property, is that okay with you? And then that person would say yes, and then we sign them up. But we don't just go willy-nilly working for somebody.
So, like Brandon mentioned, because it is the case, they go from location to location, watering hole to watering hole. Typically, when you get in that program, do you get all those property owners, so that way if you show up and they're in the migration from one location to the other, you could still deal with them? Or how do you typically handle that?
We try to get as many of them signed up as we can.
Okay,
Because they will also start figuring out where home base is and, where they're safe. And I'm thinking of one town in particular we work at right now, they have a couple different lakes or ponds within the town. And most of those places, we have most of the property signed up around here because when they go from here to there, they like to go to this spot. So that's the areas we try to get signed up. Not every landowner feels the same way. I'm sure there will be somebody who will be sympathetic for the geese, and then there'll be several people who will not be sympathetic for the geese. And so if they don't want you to allow us to work on them, we can't do nothing with them.
So let's say we have 5 individuals with ponds that say, I want to participate. Is the cost for providing this service to them included in our $8,000?
It's just wherever you tell me to work for you. There's only gonna be one cost, which is what you all pay for.
Okay.
It's not them having to pay for something afterwards. But that's why I said I'd only be able to work for them once I got your approval. Yes, go ahead and work for these people in these areas. We're not just gonna show up, turn to them, drive as far into town, if you start working for somebody and not have, your all's approval on that.
okay. Okay,
How many years have you all been doing the program for the geese?
I've been district supervisor here since 2009, and we've been doing
geese since
He's
then.
worked ever since then.
And my only other question there was, and how long does the harassment usually keep them away? Like, because where he was talking about golf courses, I can just see, and it's not in the city, I mean, it's county land, but I can just see all of them getting harassed here in the city and going straight up to the golf course.
And that's why, what I was thinking, if we do this, the golf course probably needs to be
And I was gonna
added.
say, because next year the golf course will hire them to come get rid of them at the golf course, and then they'll just come right back into the city.
But the golf course is in the city, it's incorporated
Yeah,
in the
I
city, so
understand.
I think if we go into the program, that has to be, you know, we have to look at this, because if we move them out of the 3 areas that we have now, are there other areas that they're gonna go to? And the golf course is one I thought of, but are there others that, you know, will just move from one location to the city to another? So I think comprehensively, we need to really review this and make sure.
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you this, and I can't thank you enough for coming. Obviously, we've got a geese problem. We did have an individual, after we reported in the last meeting that you were coming before us, we did have a citizen that reached out to us that has a good contact from a guy in Michigan, that he's got a geese mitigation company. And so, anyway, he's offered his services, so what we are gonna do is review those as well.
All right.
And as a program, and at the end of the day, he's, you know, he's saying that, you know, his mitigation program would probably be a little bit more cost effective for us. We don't know anything about it, we're gonna do our due diligence and review, because it was, you know, something that come before us. But this is a guy that has a legit business in Michigan, and that's the primary purpose of his business, is geese mitigation. And so at the next meeting, we're gonna review what his program is, and then we'll make a decision on, you know, what we wanna do as a city. And obviously, budgetary dollars, we weren't really, you know, we don't have budgeted, this is something we gotta back up and, you know, budget. So we're gonna see exactly what that program entails.
The only thing I would suggest, because I'm not the regulatory authority, so, but I will tell you that according to state code, the reason we get stuck doing so much goose work is that migratory birds are not covered under private nuisance work. And so therefore, when you get private companies that do it, they're not, may be not legally allowed to do it in the state of West Virginia because of code.
Yeah.
And so that's why nuisance control companies that do other stuff like that, a lot of times will call us up and go, hey, they got a goose problem, can you come over here? Or they got some type of migratory bird. So, just the only thing is cover your bases on
We
it
will.
and make sure that you check that.
And I
Because,
appreciate that heads up. We certainly do.
because if they can't, you know, doing the harassment, I don't know that there's much issue with that and how it is, but.
There's some of that going on right now.
Well, true, but I mean, when you do it for hire with the code, state code, make sure you cover your bases on that, that's the only thing I can tell you.
Yep.
Because I'm not the regulatory authority, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, as well as the West Virginia DNR is your regulatory authority, and the state codes that I'm referring to would be the ones under West Virginia DNR.
Okay.
Do you suggest, recommend, or coach property owners between the times you guys are there on what to do in the meantime, you know?
Yes, we give out, we call it technical assistance, I provide it to people all the time. Sometimes we give them fact sheets. A lot of the stuff we do, a private individual can do themselves. Now, I'm not saying they can, to say, hire somebody to do it, because there again, that's that state code thing. But most everything we're doing, somebody can do for the most part on themselves, especially all the egg and nest and the harassment. The only thing is what I really say that we kind of bring to the table is you got other things to do versus having to take care of a goose problem all the time in all these areas. Now, my own yard, I have a farm, and that's my responsibility. That's why I raise English shepherds. They harass them geese, and they have a voice command to go after them, and they harass them many times they're loose, and I tell them. But that as a landowner, you could do yourself. There's nothing against the law with you harassing them as your own.
I mean, do you guys provide that coaching or?
Yeah, coaching, we got fact sheets, some information on it, and different things like that for you that you could do, that we could provide. Most of it, we can email you the information and send it right out to somebody like that. Again, anytime somebody wants it, they can have it.
Good deal.
Okay. Okay, thank you much, sir. I appreciate your time, and in the event that we would move forward with this, Tim will be your contact. He'll be he's the city superintendent, so if we do engage in this program, he'll be the one that'll work with you and get the property owner's permission so,
Fine.
okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. Safe travels home. Thanks for coming in. Okay, council, the next item on the agenda is recorder's report.
Pass those. I got one.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have some new business that was acquired in July 2025. I want to pass along. We should try to support these folks as much as we can. Mamsie's Kitchen. This one is down the Ray. Randy's Candies, Ideal Distributing Inc., Avery's Party Rentals, Nicholas Performing Arts Council, Wise Guys Police Training Services, Robert Thompson Eschen, Lakeside Pottery LLC. And that is all I have from the city.
Okay. All right. Mayor's report. Okay, council, everybody write this down and remember, and you'll also get an email to remind you. We're gonna take headshots for the new website at the next meeting. And I'm asking you to wear a jacket and a shirt. No tie. And you can come a little early and get it, or Sam will be available after the meeting to take headshots for the new website that we're getting ready to launch for the city of Summersville. And then you'll also get an email reminder from my executive assistant, Mary Ann Taylor, reminding you to wear jackets and shirts, no ties, okay? We are in need of, and I really ask you, council, that you start helping with this and thinking about people. We have a vacancy on the Forestry Council that's been there for some time. Very active council. I mean, the work they do is great for the city. You know, that's where the work for the Tree City USA comes, that we're a 16-year member of. Also, we hold the Forestry Forum that kind of come out of the Forestry Council, which is a very informative, detailed, you know, the last meeting that was held was about import-exports, and we hold that and bring all the players in, the National Forest, the state comes, all the forestry companies in the area come. We have a vacancy on that, and I'd like to get it filled. Another one that's important, we have 2 open slots on the BZA, Board of Zoning and Appeals. So we need to think about some folks that we can get to volunteer to serve on that board. It makes it really tough to hold a meeting because we're short. It's a 5-member board with 3, and sometimes when we need meetings, quorum becomes an issue. So see if you can talk around and help get some names to fill those vacancies for city boards or committees. The summer, fall flushing for our utility, Summersville Water, will start September 1st and run through October 10th. September 1st through October 10th. And of course, that's where we caution people doing laundry. The water is still safe to drink and use, but sometimes when we fire up and run water, it can cause discoloration in the water, because the whole idea is that we're opening the pipes to move water sometimes that don't move at the pace, so that it keeps all the water fresh in the system. So that flushing takes place September 1st through October 10th.
And it's morning for all of our folks watching closed.
Yeah,
So
daytime.
in the evening, you can,
I'd still be cautious
Or-
because,
be okay.
yeah, it can still bring that, you know, once they move that colored water, it's gotta move out of the system, and a lot of times it goes through the system to move out, so.
just a heads up for those folks.
Yeah.
It's-
Inevitably, somebody always calls it does a load of whites, and they say, you've ruined my whites. So, anyway, want to also just highlight some stuff, some really important stuff here for the city. Music at the Pavilion. We've had a great year. I tell you what, it's been a successful year because as much rain as we've had, Mother Nature has really cooperated this year. So the finale is this Friday, August 15th. The reunion band is going to be on stage, and food and refreshments are going to be compliments of Camden Family Health. At this time, I'd like to personally, on behalf of the city, thank all of the great partners we have. I want to thank Mike Gregory. We call him the talent agent. Mike lines up the talent, does a wonderful job. This year we brought some new people to the pavilion, which was excellent. And then, of course, I want to thank Mary Ann, who is always the means behind most things, and she makes everything happen from the standpoint of making sure the pavilion's ready and the giveaways and so on and so forth. Her and Mike work together on most of this, so I always give credit where credit's due. But anyway, this Friday is our finale, so I invite you, if you haven't been out this year, to come out, bring a lawn chair, and take in music at the pavilion, 6:30 to 8:30. This is another really neat deal. I think it's very unique. It's the 3rd annual Nicholas County Pediatric Health Fair. It's this Saturday, August 16th, at the Summersville Arena and Conference Center. I think what's really neat about this is they give free EKGs to every youth that comes through the door. And when we talk youth, we're talking anybody in school, you know, not just young kids, but kids all the way through high school. Come and get that free EKG. Gary informed me when he gave me this promotional piece that the last 2 years they've done this, 10% of the kids that take that EKG need follow-up. And the other thing, they're going to have a pediatric cardiologist on site that's actually going to read the EKG. So what a great opportunity to get your kid an EKG read by the best, the WVU cardiologist, pediatric cardiologist. And then, of course, you know, if there is a situation that you need follow-up, it's good that you get it. You know, sometimes we hear these bad stories about things that happen to kids, even in high school. You know, in a basketball game, something happens and they had something wrong with their heart and didn't know it. So, not only that, it's a comprehensive pediatric health fair. They're going to have vision screening, bike helmet giveaways. And of course, that's for the trauma and stuff that kids sometimes can have if they're riding bikes and don't have the safety equipment. Hand hygiene. They're going to have a lung there that's going to also give a lot of vaping and tobacco education, which is important. As we know, we've got a big problem with youth and vaping. They're going to have healthy snacks and weight management and exercise. Got all kinds of other activities for the kids, face painting, got book giveaway, crafts and education. So get your youth out if you can to this free pediatric health care. It's put off by, I'm going to screw up here because I didn't bring my little side note, WVU Medicine, both Braxton and Summersville, Nicholas County Health Department, Camden Family Health, Summersville Pediatrics. Did I miss anybody? You got it. Good. So again, another great collaboration of great partners and people that do business in our county putting off this health fair. See if you can't make a great effort to get the youth out to it, because it's certainly going to be a great health fair.
What was that date and time, Mayor?
It's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yeah, and it's from, the time is 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay, council, you and I were cordially invited to the fundraiser that's taking place at Brown Oaks on Saturday. And this is for the Veterans Freedom Museum. Many of you, or some of you, attended the actual ribbon cutting of the Veterans Freedom Museum. And of course, they're located right now in a gifted spot from Dr. Carson down there where his clinic is. And what they're doing is they're trying to raise money to get a permanent facility for, establishing a home forever for the Veterans Museum here in Nicholas County. On Saturday, this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., the kickoff is at 11 a.m. They've actually got a general, and I left my other notes, I knew his name, but general that's gonna be there to talk about, I can't think of what his name was,
Is it
General.
Walker?
General Walker, yeah, I think that might be right. But anyway, they've got family activities, tours of Brown Oaks, live music, raffles, door prizes. Gonna serve a picnic lunch is included with pulled pork sandwiches, hot dogs, and a variety of sides, beverages, and desserts. And of course, the whole thing is by donation. They're asking you to come and make a donation that will ultimately go for the permanent home of the Veterans Freedom Museum. So we did receive a joint letter invitation, so council, please mark your calendars, and if you can, come out Saturday, 11 to 5 at the Brown Oaks. Also at Old Main, it's their second annual Old Main Fresh Harvest Feast, and want to encourage you, if you can, to go to that. It's Saturday, August 16th, starts at 6 p.m. This is their biggest fundraiser, and what I've been told is last year's was such a success that it's back on the docket for this year, and you're also looking to get a good meal. So if you can, it's limited. I've got some phone numbers for you to call, but consider going to the Old Main Fresh Harvest Feast, which is this coming Saturday, 6 p.m. $50 per person. And again, that's a fundraiser for Old Main. I'll take this minute to talk about Old Main. They've done some wonderful things up there to kind of make it something that's going to be a valuable resource to the city and to the county. And I can tell you that they've really stepped their game up to the extent that even when they've had functions up there, class reunions, I have received calls, I personally received calls that I've passed on to them about just how amazed people are, the way they've dressed things up and the different things that they've added of late in trying to step their game up to make that a valuable asset to our community, and it is. So I thank the board and all the work they're doing, because really I think that it really can be a great added amenity to the city and the county. So support them if you've got time Saturday night. And then at this time, I would like my executive assistant, Mary Ann Taylor, to come to the podium and under the mayor's report, give us a wow about what's right around the corner.
Wow, 26 more days for the 55th Nicholas County Potato Festival. So we will, as we have for 55 years, celebrate the agricultural history of Nicholas County with potato auction and display and the tractor show. And we have all of the favorite events that people love, all the eating contests, mashed potato, tater tot, hot wing. We have our pet pageant, which is always very popular. Cornhole. We'll have the Fireman's Parade, another popular parade. The big parade on Saturday is our grand parade, where we will honor Darrell White, who is our parade marshal for this year. We have our
Who
race.
is
It's a Darrell White.
Darrell.
We have the race coming up on Saturday. You can register at the Family Life Center, Somerville Baptist Church. The registration at 8, race starts at 9. That's also popular. If you don't want to run, you can walk, so it's a walk-run deal. We'll have tractor awards. We always give out the oldest tractor, the Queen's Choice, and the Mayor's Choice. We have ribbons and trophies for those. Kids in the schools will start coloring their potato pages, and we usually cover this entire lobby of City Hall with all of those, so that's always nice to have. And also potato decorating. We usually have a big table full of decorated potatoes, and we give out awards for those. Of course, we have our potato idol. We'll be looking for the 2025 potato idol. So if you are musically inclined and you want to sing or play an instrument, you want to enter that, it's a $25 registration. Registration is 3:30 on Saturday, and the competition, I think, begins at 5:30. they have some entertainment on Main Street. We always try to do a few things on Main Street too, because we have a lot of stuff happening down there with the car show, the craft vendors, on Courthouse Plaza and on Court Street. So we have 3 twirling groups this year. Actually, one is from Buchanan that's coming down to perform. And then we have shows by Cricket. So he will be doing some balloon artistry. So while people are lined up for the Grand Parade, which starts at 2, a lot of people start lining up at 1 o'clock. So everyone wants to get their favorite spot for that parade. So he will be walking up and down the street and making some balloon art. And then he will do a little magic type show at 5:30 on Main Street. And then we have our entertainment Saturday night. We're excited to have Jack Blocker. He will be the opening act at 7 p.m. He is an American Idol finalist. And then at 8:30, we will have our headliner, which is Kelsey Hart. Kelsey is an upcoming or rising country star. He just released another album about 2 or 3 months ago. Really is climbing the charts. So I look for him to make it big.
Yeah, he's a country boy from Kentucky,
And he is-
songwriter and singer.
He is from Kentucky. And then, of course, we end the evening with our fireworks display. And also this year, we added Mr. Potato Head. So we will have Mr. Potato Head here at various times. We'll be out, so it's great photo opportunities for kids and families. And also Mr. Potato Head's going to be in our grand parade. So we have a lot going on. I mean, we have really filled the time on Friday night and Saturday. I mean, you can stay here all day if you want. I also want to mention that amusement rides this year, we do have a new vendor, so we're excited. You're going to see some different rides probably this year, and a different company. It's Gamble Amusements. They've been very nice to work with. We were sorry to see Alan Myers leave, but he did retire. So we were lucky to find Gamble, and I think he will do a great job. They will still be located down at the Camden Family Health lot.
Yeah.
So lots of things will be happening, and we hope that you will all come out for the festival.
And I think the only thing you understated is that we were lucky to find Gamble. I'm telling you, we actually were down to the wire. Mary Ann diligently worked on this. We almost didn't have a carnival, so we are so thankful that we were able to work it out with Gamble, because we were up against it, seriously.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know how you done it.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Ann did a wonderful job, and I thank her for that, and we weren't lucky. It was persistence that finally paid off, that we ended up with the carnival, because we were literally looking at other options that we could do for kids, because we didn't think we were gonna get one. So, great job, Mary Ann. Thank you.
And we will have all our food vendors out here, so all your favorite foods will be back. And I do have some posters, if anyone wants to take one, if you can put it in your business or know a business that you can put one in. I would be happy to give you one to put out. These are provided by the promoter that does our entertainment.
I think well, I mean, yes, we're still looking. We have somebody that's interested.
Thank you.
Anybody else wants to be? Two?
About 3.
Three? Absolutely.
Hey, council, what I will do while Mary Ann's passing those out, I'll finish up. We've got 2 thank yous, correspondence here. We received one from the Bread of Life. Always graciously very thankful for what we've done for them. And we also received a thank you from the Grizzly Marching Band, as we participate in their summer camp every year and provide meals. And so they also sent a thank you to the city for the wonderful job that we did with the box lunches for their kiddos. They really enjoyed them. So we do that for the Nicholas County Band for their summer camp. We take one of the, somebody different takes a meal every day, and we take a meal. and the meals produced out of the conference center. So Mary Ann, thank you for that too. Those are the thank yous. And that concludes the mayor's report. Council reports? Okay, I would like to move into real quick an executive session. So I will, I'm looking for my agenda. Let's go to my agenda. How do you lose your agenda? Yeah. Actually, what did I do with my agenda? I just had it. How does a man lose it out here? Okay, so at this time, I would like to move into executive session under the authority of West Virginia Code 6-9A-4 for purposes of legal, personnel, and deliberative matters. First? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries.